Hello guys and welcome to TFT Worlds, set 10, day 2, game number 6. Enjoy.
A third place won't do it. You have to play that risky place like Casanova, that heart steal we saw from Jeduzor. If you can run it back again, that's a big one.
All right, Skipper stands alone on the portal to destiny. We'll see if he can one-man it again. We know we deserve it.
Oh, come on. Okay. You got it last time.
Listen, this is my most picked portal on my pick'ems. Good job, Eggy.
All right, ready yourselves, everyone. One last time around, and we're looking for a big lock-in. Xingtian will find exactly one of those. Eggy as well with the Urgot.
Yeah, Eggy finding an Urgot I think is massive, right? Trying to be able to play that win streak style, get a lot of gold, and we've seen Eggy play from high HP and then take a kind of mid-game where he loses a lot. He just sacrifices HP, stage 3, stage 4, and then hits a full board at that point.
For Jeduzor, could it be Riven, the French compatriot who also qualified to World? Volta played Riven and Heartsteel to make his way to Worlds with these crazy, exciting first-place games. But this is deja vu. Are we running it back? Is this a replay? Production, please?
Yeah, I mean, it was the same lobby, but did you mean literally we're going to cast over the same exact lobby once again?
Hey, the result was good. I'm down.
Yeah, it ain't broke, don't fix it. Jeduzor is fixing to get himself another first-place finish. Remember, the path he took last time round was treacherous indeed, but he played for that first place and he took it.
All right, we'll see how the rest of our players competing for those slots are faring. Yue has found actually a Olaf as well that he's going to be playing around, so that is, you know, looking to stabilize that early game. It seems like most of these players outside of Jeduzor are playing for that win streak.
Making use of the early Nico to get the KDA online, potentially the Superfan online as well. Now has a Lilia pair and this Nico. I'm really looking forward to Jeduzor's game plan with Heartsteel, especially because of the raise the stakes implications. Everyone knows Jeduzor wants to raise the stakes and wants to play for first. Two players especially are going to try and stop him from doing that. Is it too risky? Will someone just directly open fort the moment they see Jeduzor going for that raise the stakes moment?
I just think the concept of too risky just can't exist for Jeduzor anymore at this point. As we said coming in, you need the big finish here. Nothing but
Clear
the absolute
mind.
bleeding edge.
He is not stressed at all. The feelings are smooth. He's flowing. His mind is clear. He's trying to go for that run it back.
He's expressing himself through his augment choice. You can see on his camera there, tiny on the right-hand side of the screen, the concentration on his face, knowing this is the moment he could go to the top 8 or just miss out.
Yeah, and I want to talk about Eggy being able to pick up Salvage Bin, so we're kind of looking at opposite styles here. Eggy going to look to really push the tempo, slam all of his items, especially with this Urgot early. This is going to be a really strong board to find that win streak in stage 2 and stage 3.
And with Salvage Bin, quick reminder, if you're looking for a win, which is what Eggy needs, there's a high cap to this augment because you can break down emblems in the late game like we saw Dish Soap doing in day number 1 to try and find those verticals, the 9 true damage, the pentakill, the 10 KDA we saw Chase so many times today.
And of course, in this lobby, we will not have any real help from the portals outside of the early plays, these early Urgots, this early power. Later on, finding that kind of portal power would be absolutely fantastic as we see what the Urgot can do. Normally, the Olaf would be the answer to all your problems, but Urgot just perhaps too big of a problem to solve.
He stayed on level 3 and he still find the win. That's just how strong Urgot actually is.
Corki 2, Urgot 1, yeah.
Yeah.
Good enough.
Yeah, it's good.
One thing I wanted to bring into the conversation in terms of unusual augments, too big to fail from your goal from Korea, going from a bruiser-centric line, will be able to get a good amount of power in early on.
Yeah, that's actually a setup that might actually even be scary for Eggy to run into. Too big to fail with the Olaf headliner early. Usually you just use this to win streak a lot in the early game. I'd actually be very interested if Ugol tries to continue to play this throughout the game because most of the time in NA, it was just used as a 2-1 augment to win streak on stage 2 and 3.
Very interesting. We'll see. I mean, I know at the very middle part of the set where it really gained popularity, players were just playing with that 6 bruiser out, trying to fit in things like a TF disco sometimes even to just have a backline carry. But as you mentioned, it has changed a bit near the later start of the set. I think everything's been a bit more optimized. For Jeduzor, talking about optimizations, using those punk rolls with clear mind to try and have that min-max of having some board strength while trying to level up.
See on the other side though, ZUA, the board strength is overwhelmingly strong with that buried treasure, getting a little bit more punch behind that early board. Certainly doesn't seem to be taking the more passive approach to looking for that first place.
Trying to find Heartsteel here as well. That's the big one for the Punk. And finds
What?
a very early Riven Caitlyn package.
Gee.
Does this maybe sway you in a different direction?
Yeah, the items are actually pretty solid for this as well. It's pretty reasonable to try and go for Riven from here, especially because with it being Riven Caitlyn, you actually will effectively stack 8-bit in the early stages of the game.
You have to sell all your bench here with Clear Mind, though, which makes you have to sell both the pair of Pantheons and the pair of Vides. I like this, adding in the Vine instead to get the 1 extra gold over having the Pantheon in for Punk.
All right, we'll see how this newly minted board does. Again, this is against the Too Big to Fail exploding Bruiser board. So certainly at this point, not strong enough to get the win, but maybe good enough to get some stacks in of 8-bit and get a few units off the board.
Yeah, realistically, lose streaking all of Stage 2 is just fine. I think the positive outcome is the fights are close, you get some kills, you get some stacks, and that's really all the Jedusor is looking for on these early stages. But we talked about how Riven can cap out, how it can win games. We've seen it falter, but this is when Jedusor needs it most.
Talking about what he's looking for. First pick on the Stage 2 carousel. Doesn't have Heartsteel in yet. Has the Cassante Heartsteel headliner. Does he find a Yone? Does he find a set? Or is Riven going to be good enough with a bow that could become potentially an 8-bit emblem if he wants to go down that route, and finds a Spatula in the Stage 2 carousel? That will be the committal for now. It is 3 gold as well, just in case.
Yeah, no Heartsteel available here, so it just does feel like the bow, which is already pretty good to pair up with the itemization that he has on the bench. I think we will see Jedusor just try and play around this Riven, at least in the early game. Having the pair, I'm curious, he still had Punkin, maybe he uses the 1 roll, sees if he can high roll, but if not, he'll maybe take it out and just play the Rivens.
Yeah, I mean, certainly we'll be able to at least keep them on the ball for the time being. But let's check around with what everyone else is up to. Cheche, with the duplicators from before, is set up for a strong early board. Has kept things mostly under control as Jedusor will hit the 2-star Riven, exactly as you said, Cass.
And of course, Cheche cannot fight for the top 8, but he can fight for placements and a whole lot of prize pool. Riven 2 has been found. Caitlyn as well. He was trying his hardest to play for Heartsteel, but the game is saying, listen, you got 1 win already. Don't get too greedy. Here's some Rivens instead.
I think there's a lot to be said to listening to what the game wants to give you on any given day. For Jedusor, this is a very, very important day. Going to slam in the Bloodthirster. Going to draw out these rounds a little bit longer without making too much of a threat. I was going to say, without making too much of a threat of winning, but I think actually that'll still happen anyway.
I think it's interesting because when you look at his spot, you're like, oh, but he's broke. This just can't be possibly good. But I think the big thing to look at is Clear Mind is actually giving him so much econ over this. And while he's broke, he's already hit 3 copies of the unit that he's looking for. He'll be at 6 once he can find the headliner. And because he's a lot of gold is going into leveling via Clear Mind, he'll actually hit 7 on pace that he needs to actually be rolling down for the Riven 3.
And the fact that he found these Rivens in the right moments where he can hit the upgrade and not have to hold the second unit on the bench makes things so much more easy for Jedusor in terms of that awkwardness with Clear Mind sometimes. All
right, just taking in some of the other augments on the lobby overall. Mai from Japan, we haven't seen too much of as of yet, going for the Ritz got richer, so the economy start, and it looks like Heartsteel attempt for the early game. So we're keeping our eyes out, particularly, again, on those 3 players, Ziyue, Eggy, and Jedusor, how far they can push in this game. A top 2 at worst, a top 1 at best.
Ziyue runs into Eggy. Eggy staying on level 4, and Eggy has lost throughout this stage, so not able to keep the full win streak, but both of our Urgot and Joyers going up against each other.
And for Eggy, you're thinking, how can a player who needs to play for first slam a Sunfire and a Shiv? It's because he has Salvage Bin, making the best use of his augment to have some tempo slams early that he can break down later on in the game to find that BIS for whatever carries he needs.
Yeah, very, very smart play there. And one of which is definitely an augment that's definitely taken by our players who are looking for a tougher road intentionally.
An early Ahri.
What is this game? An early forecast?
We've been
What's
finding
going on?
a lot of them. They've been creeping up, trying to give some people either some direction or just power early on. But Cheche finding the Seraphine immediately as a potential option to go for. Has AP items, has the super fan start. Could be a reasonable out.
It is Spellweaver, though.
Yeah, not optimal.
We'll have to see how greedy Cheche is going to be. You go, though.
I love this board.
This is
Bruiser.
absolutely filthy.
4 Bruiser, 1 Ahri. I mean, Ahri actually can work out great as the carry playing in this Bruiser composition. You talked about the 6 Bruiser out, and then you find like a TF carry. Ahri can work, but you might want to find a little bit of spread damage to add to it. I don't think you want to solo carry the Ahri with the Bruiser board.
It definitely puts me in mind of the Ahri Sentinels boards we've seen before. Well, I guess we got a little bit of extra damage. We've got 4 Bruiser in right now for not an insignificant amount of punch to back up that Ahri's damage.
You can make 30 here as well. You can slam the red buff if you'd like it on the Ahri. If you're thinking about playing something more like an Ezreal later on in the game, even just a TF can hold it and then move into legendaries later on.
All right, let's check back in on our big three Ryu. Currently, let's see, more towards the top of the table. Yeah, sorry, I didn't expect to be doing quite that well at this point.
It's
41 gold in the bank and a 5-round win streak as well. That's certainly a great setup for the push later. Jedusor again, another one of those three. Has not found any more Ribbons since then, but still the ball's looking good and the items are looking
Yeah,
good.
I mean, he's definitely playing Riven. You see the slams, Quicksilver alongside the Bloodthirster. And, you know, we were talking about Jedusor like, oh, maybe I want to play Heartsteel this game. And then he was gifted the Rivens. And Jedusor says, well, why not both? I think we'll play Heartsteel and Riven, and we'll try and collect a couple of items along the way.
This augment, so important for Jedusor if he's committing to this Riven line. Unlike most other comps, Riven really needs specific augments. She needs combat power to elevate her to that first place. A second won't do it, a third won't do it. He needs to find that big result in this final game.
And we've got our augment selection coming up here for 3-2, and we'll see exactly what Jedusor is able to find to try and tie this composition together, and it's prismatic.
Oh,
so that
Prismatic
is going
very
to be massive.
poor unless you find the right augments. He needs to get these rerolls going. Tiniest Titan, Blinding Speed, and What the Forge are not going to cut it.
No, absolutely not. We got
Oh.
Wellness Trust is another miss. Needs to find the damage. Blinding Speed, definitely, as you said, not going to be enough.
Oh,
Jewel Lotus
there we go. Now we're
Perfect
talking, Mordog.
augment
Thank you very
hit.
much.
You know, we talked about this quite a bit and how Jeweled Lotus is actually one of the best augments for Riven, and it doesn't feel so intuitive because you look at Riven and you say, well, I don't actually need this line of text that says my ultimate can crit. However, you know, you're already slamming Quicksilver, you get 40% extra crit, now those big auto attacks start just slaying people immediately.
Seems like a few more players agree. Cheche also on
Yeah.
Jewel Lotus. Chuchen also on Jewel Lotus on the bottom side there.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely fantastic for that invisible fourth item, an extra push of power. Jedusor still, you know, making sure that he keeps himself nice and cozy here. The items continue to be slammed and ready to be moved across the river, and when the moment is right, that moment isn't quite yet, though.
We passed the first test for the Riven board. Now the second test is coming up. The stage 3 carousel. Can he find a spatula to be able to slam a bow onto it and find a 6-8-bit later in the game?
Oh, he's not going to be able to actually have first pick, I believe, by in this spot. We'll see how it actually shakes out, but it looked like a couple people took losses and may have dropped below it.
Looks like Eggy's on 64.
Oh,
No, still
Oh,
first
no,
pick.
he actually fell all the way
Maybe
to the
one more
bottom.
fight though still.
Yep, one more fight to try and hold on, and his power level is still kind of creeping up to where he could find some fight wins.
Picking up, going to level 6, and spend a little bit of that gold. Has the Seraphine coming together. It's getting the item slams in pretty aggressively here. Eggy has been on a loss streak, but maybe that might be about to at least soften, if not change.
Yeah, of course, the salvage bin, right? He's going to always slam these items down. Ended up going for the Determined Investor, trying to make some extra gold here. Diamond Hands also gives him a third frontline item to go alongside with these backline items, so Eggy can continue to try and play through that. As we look at Mai, going to be on the other side, has been loss streaking quite a bit. Very rich on level 6, looking to push potentially to a fast 7, fast 8.
Yeah, has a heart still in place as well, alongside that Rich got richer, so definitely trying to play for a big win out in this game. Riskier, but certainly with its own share of rewards. You can see that the board here from Eggy that's been newly put together is doing its job very well. That Gragas is holding ground for an enormous amount of time.
I'm going to be honest, I'm going to put my biases on display here. I'm happy to see a blue buff on my side because Mai played Riven last game. It seems like this comfort comp, he crushed Cheche's dream. Thankfully, Jedusor looks uncontested for this game.
Spatula.
Number
Yeah.
6, Spatula is there. Jedusor
It's going to his side.
is first.
It's going to his side.
Walked right
Everything
into
is
it.
going right for Jedusor.
This road, the golden road for Jedusor, is paved in spatulas and big hopes and dreams. The bricks are being laid here for the road to a potential first and a potential day 3.
Now he needs exactly one specific headliner. I'm not going to celebrate until he finds an 8-bit Riven, hopefully in
course.
very little gold.
We have seen it time and time again of players getting stuck. They need to find that perfect headliner, and they can never get there. But Jedusor, everything has been coming up for him exactly as he wants, and his roll down likely going to show up on that 4-1.
Again, 5 hearts though. The rod was not ideal. It's why I was grimacing a tiny bit. Obviously, it's maybe the last component you want on board Lego. So he's rolling now. 20 gold
Wow.
only to work with. Surprise.
All right, that's 8-bit.
8-bit Garen.
I think he knew he couldn't milk the Heartsteel for another cash outs because he would be rolling for the Riven anyway, so it makes sense to roll down a little bit here and at least preserve HP the next 2 rounds.
Okay, well, that's another brick being put in the wall there. We know that 8-bit is now possible to reach up to that 6th version. Oh!
No,
Can you see the item slams? Presumably this is just a stake.
Oh, of course.
Oh,
Yeah,
we don't
yeah.
wait
He's
for the
renting
headliner.
it until he can find that Riven. It's a good rental, right? Because you're just getting extra 8-bit, but not having the Corki means that Gizor does not have that 6 immediately online.
They're selling the Garen anyway, so you know those items will be swapped over to the Riven Headliner, ideally in the 4-1 roll down. 25 gold to work with, and hopefully make it to above 50 after the Wolves PvE round. And we'll see if that'll be enough gold to actually hit the board he needs. As you mentioned, Casa, the weirdest thing, he has all the 8-bit units except for the 1-cost Corki.
Yeah, but he won't necessarily need it as much later on, right? Finding just a generic Riven, get the +1 from the or the generic Garen, find the +1 with the Riven, and then hopefully in this big roll down that he's got on 4-1, you can find the 1-cost. Surprised we well, of course he couldn't hold it throughout the game because of Clear Mind. I totally forgot about that, but yeah, it's a big reason why he's not able to have that 1-cost.
Yeah, it's an awkward line for Jedusor, but we'll see how well he can navigate it. Ryu, I'll see you roll up. One of our 3 players looking for that first place finish does have the double Infinity Edge. A very, very nice board being put together here that's kept him winning for a very long time, almost 2 full stages.
Oh, he's going to win 2 full stages. I mean, look, it's Jedusor on the other side. There's no way that this, pieced together board of the Garen Headliner is going to make it done. And this Freaky Friday being able to give all these extra stats to the front line and the back line here with the Olaf and the Urgot. Ziwe just trying to win streak, try and go as much HP preservation as possible.
Curious if G-Wes tries to follow similar footsteps that Skip Payas had in that Game 6 yesterday, where he played with a double Infinity Force for that duo carry between the Zed and the Akali. Both great users playing into the vertical true damage instead, but no spatula here. We'll see what his roll down looks like at 4-2, I imagine. He's going to have so much gold to work with thanks to the win streak. The big roll down will be coming in through Jedusor, though. 4-1 is the pivotal moment for the French player. He did it last game. Can he do it again?
Yeah, he got his way up to 40 gold. He should be able to get near 50 after these neutrals, and it's going to be so much to work with, but needing one specific headliner does make it that terrifying prospect. You're not even sure if 50 will be enough.
All right, let's go and check it out if it's going to be the real deal. The sellers already happened, the roll down.
The Corki.
Corki's in place. We have
Caitlyn.
1. Another Caitlyn.
Caitlyn 2.
Upgrade. Come
Just
on.
needs the Riven.
Where is it? Where is it?
Come on. Agi hits Seraphine 3. It's a
That's
big
big.
hit as well. On the side of UA, has not really found too much. Actually, still just slow rolling. Going to just level up to 8.
Just going to wait to roll down on 4-2. I'm curious if Jedusor did manage to finally hit. He's rolled down to 4 gold.
No.
And he has
Found
2
it.
Riven
There's 2
pairs.
Riven pairs. I don't know
Oh,
if
wait,
it's 8-bit or
maybe?
not, but I assume it is.
We have to believe, just as hard as Jedusor must have to believe in himself in this game. ZUA at least does have the power to get punching through these boards early on. The Urgots from before still proving their worth, and the 3-cost champion Portal.
And what a start for the CN player. 11 win streak, now a massive roll down coming through. Maybe even a huge combat augment coming through at 4-2 as well to continue
The
maximizing the
Riven.
strength here.
Oh,
Finds the
God.
Edgelord Riven Headliner, not the 8-bit. Might be a rental.
I don't know though at this point if he's got enough money to be, to be picky about that and try and go sell, try and go down again. Silver August will be our final choice. There's no extra gold injections being found here to try and refresh any economy.
All right, we can see GUA is looking to roll down, has rolled all the way to 0. We've got a pair of Zeds, ended up getting picked up as Sona, a pair of Poppies as well, and 2 Ezreals. A lot of pairs found, but no completed units for GUA. Does look like it will be the Poppy Headliner, though, as being played around.
He's taken down his gold all the way to 0. We'll see if he can maintain the 11 win streak as a massive way of continuing that gold injection, just that win streak gold itself, which is going to be massive considering the 11 rounds he's won already.
ZUA board being correctly read out from before. We're starting to see the units come into place. The Zed up to full itemization with the Edge of Night. It's on the opposite side from Skipper, so we haven't seen a ton of. Has brought out the hologram board, but not the hologram board which we've seen a few times before.
I'm curious about the Giant Slayer on the Zed. I would have really liked to see the Infinity Force on the Zed and Giant Slayer on the Ezreal instead, but I am sure that Ziwet knows a lot better than me how to itemize these units coming into a round where he needs to win to try and make top 8, to try and play in the day 3 tomorrow. Win against Capellas here. 12 win streak now for the CN player.
Yeah, still at 100 HP. He's found all combat augments in some way or another, either through items or just through that bulk. And 12 full wins, having this massive HP lead, he can afford to even push further levels as he just hits a Zed as well.
And Qingtian, he's holding 2 Rivens, making life so much more difficult for Jedizor, who we're seeing here, has sold the Riven headliner, is looking for the 8-bit Riven, but is now at 3 golds. He can't find it. He can't buy it, even if he does find it. This is starting to look tragic. Of course, the risky play, it's an all-or-nothing on a combo that we've seen fail a lot this weekend.
I just don't know about this, but Jedizor's made his choice and he's going to have to live or die with it. Up against Cheche with the 3-star center. That's a player who has hit everything he's looking for. The Riven at 2-star just isn't tough enough. At least we got a glass shot off, but it won't take the center down. Jedizor going to get hit pretty hard in the face. It won't kill him, but will put him very close to it.
I don't know if he has enough money to make this happen. It needs to be Riven off the carousel and then, 8-bit Riven plus an additional Riven in this next shop, or else I think he's out of here. Too many of these boards have spiked way too hard.
Even the Riven here would not matter. He just needs the headliner at this point. It has to be 8-bit as well. We're going for the sword, trying to finish off any last items he needs. He did find a Caitlyn too early, but I don't think that'll be enough to carry through this round, through this stage rather, if he doesn't find the headliner he needs. And we mentioned it. It's a specific headliner. It's so hard to try and pinpoint for exactly one.
Yeah, Jedizor seems to be out of luck here, but ZUA and Eggy, the 2 other players who are looking to break out of this lobby and into the top 8, they are doing exceptionally well. ZUA, of course, with a massive, massive win streak, but Eggy also thriving.
Finds 1 Riven, 1 more roll, doesn't get there. Qingtian finds the Vex 3 Executioners pretty online, but the front line very soft for this comp, so actually looks very much like it's going to be a bottom 2 alongside Jedizor, as they've both fallen down to 1 life.
Oh,
literally just the Riven headliner away. If he can survive 1 more fight, there's 1 more chance.
He's facing off against Eggy, one of the strongest players in the lobby. 6 win streak for the player who found the Seraphine 2 earlier on, and that's going to be the matchup here as well. The Nico holding on the fort, the Echo with the Redemption walking up to heal her. The Seraphine cast, if they come through onto the Riven, she doesn't sneak into the back line either. She gets stuck on the front line. The Caitlyn cast comes through. The Rabbit on tech with the AP scaling. Is that going to be enough?
Yeah,
Riven is stuck for so long.
It's big. A lot of extra damage coming through. This bonus damage on Rabadons. The cast, the dodge from the Edgelord isn't enough. 1 more cast from the Caitlyn can come out. The Riven goes down, but the Caitlyn survives. The Rabadon's death cap. Shout out to Gangly. He knows where he is.
Oh, boy. It was a secret hidden tech. Jedizor lives another day, another shot. The dream still feels so far away.
Oh.
And looking at Mai now, the Radiant Deathblade onto the Ezreal. The very early Lucian as well here with the Rage Blade onto him. The Poppy headliner. Very strong board for now, a 3 win streak.
And UA is finally taken a loss here on 4-5 after streaking the entirety of the game. 40 gold, level 8. Look at the board. He doesn't need to roll anymore. He's going to keep having these Heartsteel cash outs, and he can just push to level 9.
All right, Jedizor will be fighting for his life again in this round. I don't know how many rounds it's going to take to try and find the headliner, but going up against Ugol with the Ari locked into the corner of the board.
But the Ari's on her.
Riven just isn't strong enough. It's down to the Caitlyn by herself, and I do not think there's a further reprieve to be found.
Look, Death Cap might be an okay item for Caitlyn, but it's not good enough for this one, and Jedizor not going to be able to get there. Falls down in 7th place.
That being said, Jedizor has to be very proud of the season he's had. An insane breakout season for a very young French player we'll be seeing a lot more of in what I assume will be a very long career in TFT. A great top placement, not top 8 maybe, but maybe top 10, top 12 in his first ever World Championship.
Yeah, that makes a big difference how big of a splash you can make the first time. As you said, hopefully we'll be seeing a lot more of him to come. The lessons learned from this, I'm sure, will stay with him for the rest of his TFT career.
And now we turn our focus to ZUA and Eggy. They both are still able to find a spot in that top 8. They both put themselves in very solid positions to do so. Both of them the highest HP in the lobby. ZUA finally going to start taking some losses as he tries to econ up for level 9.
just with the way that Heartsteel works, Jouet is expected to have just more and more resources going into the late game, whereas the cap has been hit by Eggy. He's stabilized, he's healthy, yes, but where does he go from here with a Seraphine 3?
Yeah, that's the big question, is how can he actually cap this out? Usually, you would say something like Sona when it was the Spellweavers, but we haven't seen Sona find very much success at all, and it definitely doesn't feel like the way to stand up to a Heartsteel board that is capping with 3 fully itemized carries already, and the ability to itemize legendaries later on.
Yeah, Eggy's certainly very short on cash, but does find at least the Lulu to be upgraded. Maybe we'll be looking for that Ari a little bit later on to try and punch a little bit more power in. But again, the players who found their boards, particularly the center board here, going to be very hard to deal with.
On the left side, Eggy up against Cheche. Seraphine versus Senna. Maybe Eggy's plan is just to stay healthy. Maybe a second will be enough for him. We're not entirely sure on the math yet.
Yeah.
The tiebreakers could be at 61, and that could be enough if he makes it to that point gap. He's able to win this last fight here. 2 wins now in a row for Eggy, and wins that mirror matchup against Senna.
Yeah, it's a really good point you call out. As much as we were talking about, hey, play for first in this game, we do know they're 53 points, right? If you get 7, it still puts you to 60. That was the initial target we put out, so there's still a chance that you can find it with that second place. As we've got an Ari now to replace the Lulu. Ari 2 can definitely make a big difference.
Oh boy. To be in these players' shoes, to make those kind of decisions at this moment that could send you into the top 8 or away from it. Hugo, of course, we've still got to consider for our players who are trying to make it through to day 3, if neither of them can, it's a possibility neither of them hit into the top 2, and neither of them get the spots at all.
We saw it in EMEA Finals. The cutoff was at 61, and tiebreakers took into effect for what players would make it or not all the way into that day 3 and then into Worlds. Looking at this board now from Jiwei, still those Infinity Forces doing so much for the Poppy, for the Ezreal as well. The tankiness on the Poppy, especially holding that even Shroud. The direct counter to the Disco board is not doing enough just yet. The Ezreal one does not have enough damage to one-shot the TF, and TF is able to clean up. The Poppy can't do it by herself.
Yeah, actually a pretty significant loss. A lot of HP going down for Zue, but of course we do know that this is going to be level 9, and on that roll down, I would expect the Ezreal to get hit as well, or even just find a way into a Jhin to be the carry instead.
Skippers close to elimination. Baron, of course, he's already through to the final 8 in day number 3, so he can more or less just wait this one out and try and scout his potential future opponents, gain as much intel as possible, and ready himself for the battle to come.
Eggy's HP buffer game plan is working out until now, but a new challenger has risen up in the HP standings. 6 win streak for Mai, another Heartsteel player who can continue capping on his board. Maybe just waiting for everyone to die will not work out. Eggy has to find a way to cap out and win at least against one of the 2 Heartsteel players.
It looks like we might have another death coming through. Scape is falling very low, now running in to that Senna, but Thresh getting one last hook before he goes down. Maybe that is enough as the Senna just tries to shoot through the rest of the board. Now that's going to do it for Senna.
Oh, I love the Ezreal. He jumps up in the air, he readies his bow, and Senna just like,
So it goes, pop.
Oh, cast times. So Skippers is out of here, but again, his job has already been done with his previous games. That's always quite a thing to be able to get across that line before the full group stage is over. Hugo, though, with the Disco board, been relying on the last surviving member, but not good enough, I suspect. No,
Oh, wow. Okay.
That was a bigger hit than I was expecting.
Okay, Ziggs. We've been seeing these 1-star Ziggs popping off.
He's a
Back
tank
back
and a
in.
DPS.
Look at him go.
We're looking now at the stage 5 carousel. The key 5 cots have been instantly swiped and picked up by the first pickers, Cheche and Yugo. Zijue, Mai picking up a Steadfast, trying to make his front line just a little bit tankier, trying to solve the problem of that Seraphine damage raining down upon his tanks as those fights begin. And still win streaking as well for the Japanese player.
Yeah, Mai looking to play spoiler against these 2. Eggy has now overtaken Zue on the HP, but we do know that Zue should be pushing to level 9, and here it is. Another Heartsteel cash out on the way as well, but the roll down has not netted enough, I don't feel. There's not a lot of legendaries being hit. We just see the
No Lowy, no Diggs, no Jhin.
No Ezreal 2-star either.
This is a little bit
missed
sad.
everything, actually.
Especially with the Bruiser Emblem, you really want to have the Alawi, I assume, to try and fit in the 4 Bruiser to have that extra bit of tankiness. But also no RE2 for Eggy, so, you know, hands being shaken across the board, no one's hitting anything.
Everyone's spending every piece of money they've got available. There's barely any gold left in the lobby at all, even while the HP totals on the top are more substantial. We do get to see our 2 players whose dreams are big going face to face.
Yeah, Jiue versus Eggy. Both of them really want this fight when the other person is still contesting them on points. You want to be trying to drop them as early as possible. Try and make sure that the spot can be yours. And it looks like right now Eggy does have the stronger board. Poppy trying her best. Not going to be able to get it done. And Eggy holding on to this HP lead. As Mai finally loses a fight, which is incredibly important here.
That being said, still cash outs coming through. We talked about the capping nature of this Heartsteel board. The Lucian has been found. The Jazz Emblem has been found by the Chinese player. And talking about capping your board, that's exactly what he needed.
Wow, that extra dose of power of the Bard. It means we're going to be having ourselves Jazz 4 in the mix. And you can see there's a lot of traits active on the side.
Yeah, it is a massive way to cap out. In fact, maybe the highest way to cap out.
Oh my goodness,
come
keep
on.
going. Ezreal 2,
Ezreal.
Zach 2, up against the Disco Enjoyer, who will enjoy no longer.
Enjoy this L, actually, in this one, because I feel like the Ezreal 2 should make all the difference.
Oh boy, these are the moments that are the makings of a potential champion tomorrow. This board coming together at speed. We check across the rest of the field. Of course, we're looking to see if there will be any further pushes towards elimination. As Mai is almost, but not quite dead.
That's a cash out.
Mai is next.
That's
We
a
just saw the
cash out.
cash out from Jiue. We saw the upgrades. Maybe Mai can also find what he needs to continue capping on his board, to continue contesting Eggy and Jiue for the win. Playing spoiler, Japanese player trying to finish on a high in this game 12.
Yeah, Eggy's still able to keep these wins up on the 1-star Ahri, so at least he has kind of a ways to go, but the Heartsteel players have much higher caps, and honestly for Eggy, he's hoping that this game tries to end even faster. He's hoping everybody starts falling off, and that Ziue cannot find even further hits to get there, but the last time Eggy fought against that board, it was significantly weaker than it is now.
Still saving a little bit of money, we'll find a little bit more courtesy of the round. We have got a little bit more itemization to put together for the Ahri on the back line.
Gonna try and roll for the RE2. He can't go 9. He thinks there's not enough time. Gonna roll for the RE2, but can he even find that? A sad roll on up until now, especially compared to his opponent, Jiue, who found so many big upgrades. The Lucian, the Zac, and the Ezreal. And
Jiue finds
Alawi
Alawi
2
2.
has been found. Stark contrast between these two rolldowns.
There's no money left in the coffers there. And yeah, no RE2 despite the world of trying.
Oh, and he's going to leave his death blade behind.
Oh, no.
Oh, look, it came with. It came with. There we go. That's good.
There's no scarier sight than Alawi with a saxophone when you're trying to go first in this game number 6. The left side there just looks like a dominant win. And Eggy on the right, the Seraphine already being crowded. The Senna clump comes through. The AoE damage, the Seraphine cannot out-heal. And that's going to be a loss for Eggy, who has a lot of HP to work with at the very least.
Yeah, and Mai seemed like the only person that potentially could slow Ziue down, but now Ziue has taken care of that. Now he just has to push through the rest of these boards.
Where's
and
the
no one
Ahri?
is really threatening to cap it out.
Can someone answer my question? Where is this Ahri? He's used so much gold to try and find it.
I was just checking to see if we're going to be seeing picking up anywhere else. I mean, Cheche definitely has got one of the Ahris themselves to try and deny a little bit longer, but that's got to be incredibly frustrating for Eggy at this of all moments.
If Eggy can hang on for that second place, though, we know that potentially the cutoff is still doable. It might be livable, but a third does not feel like it does enough. So Eggy, holding on to extra HP, just needs Cheche to fall.
I love this positioning. The tentacles targeted first, and now the Poppy and the Zed feeling that damage coming in from the Senna. Both clump now up together. The Ezreal misses, only hits the Ahri. His aim is not ideal. The Senna, can she one-shot the Ezreal? She can't. Too many damage dealers, too many threats on this Heartsteel board. A big loss for Cheche, and a big loss for Eggy as well. The Chinese players running away with this lobby, and we are not surprised considering everything he's hit in the last few rounds.
No, he's walking away with this one easily. He's got such a massive Heartsteel board, the Jazz emblem, the cherry on top. Jiue should be able to win this game without a problem, putting himself in the best position to make top 8. But Eggy, a second place, could still do it. It is just Eggy versus Cheche. Can Eggy hold on a little bit longer?
17 HP versus 10 HP. The dream could die right here up against Jiue and the board made of nightmares. The Seraphine is going to be able to cast into the big clump in the center, but we can see Nico just can't hold on against the tankiness of the Poppy, and the Zed ripping through the back line. Eggy
HP bars
destroyed.
He's down in Cheche 1. Eggy gonna fall in third. One of the big hopes of SCA will end the day on 59 points.
Don't tell me there's an Ari on this carousel. Okay, at the very least, you won't have to live that down, but the missing Ari, it'll be a question that'll be on Eggy's mind for such a long time, so close to potentially making it haunting to be one upgrade away from having a massive spec on your board, chasing it for 2 stages, and not finding it in the end.
Yeah, sometimes fate just isn't on your side on this day. Here, of course, looking to try and extend this incredibly powerful board higher, and the Lucian is
My
found.
goodness.
Sometimes it rains and it pours, Cass, over the just and the unjust. That is going to be a huge step forward.
Yeah, able to find the Lucian, so even if Jiue loses this one round to Cheche, will not stop the power train here, being able to pick up even more. One more fight for Jiue to lock in the best possible chance at making that top 8.
The split front line, buying time with the Zed immediately targeted by the Senna. Can the Senna get both the Zed and the Poppy down in one big AoE cast? She can, but it doesn't matter. She's almost dead. Look at this clear from the Ezreal. Dominating win from Jiue, who, again, from stage 6 onward, hit upgrade after upgrade after upgrade. The Lucian, the Jazz emblem, the upgrades on both the Alawi and the Zig.